Hi everyone, welcome back to Chop's Garage. I've done it again. I've bought what is quite possibly the riskiest car that money can buy. I want you to know I only do this for you. I buy these cars so you don't have to, so you realise what a serious mistake it is to get involved with anything like this. It is of course an old Range Rover. It's a 2006 56 plate one, so it might be 2007 on the reg document actually. It is a proper old Range Rover. So what are we getting on now with that? Getting on like 16, 17 years old now, aren't we? So this genuinely is end of life. I don't care what anybody says, this car is end of life. The manufacturer warranted it for what, 3 or 5 years. There's so many components on this to go wrong. You have to be a loon to buy one. There is a way to buy these in a safe way, and that is you buy the well-known 4.4 litre V8, which is a really tough engine, really reliable. You buy one with an impeccable service history and with low mileage. So knowing this, what have I done? Well, I bought the 3.6 litre V8 twin turbo, which is renowned for being the unreliable engine. I've bought it with 140 odd thousand miles on it and with a sketchy service history. So basically riskier than giving your credit card details to a Nigerian prince. So why did I get it? Well, it's the responsibility once again of the trade to trade underwriting page on Facebook. Now, those of you who followed me for a while know I've had a couple of Land Rovers now and really like them. A Jaguar XF 3 litre S, which is the 3 litre V6 diesel, which I absolutely love. That's a mega high mileage, high risk car as well. You hear all the stories and fears about those. But there's actually a couple of things, responsible for this. It's the trade to trade group on Facebook where I saw the car come up cheap, and it's at the same time I watched a video with Jeremy Clarkson and Harry's Garage. I forget Harry's surname, doesn't it? He owned Evo magazine, is that right? Worked for Jaguar Land Rover as well. And there's a video on YouTube of the two of them, and I just happened to watch that video at the same time as seeing this come up cheap. They do a video talking about how great this year of the Range Rover is. Now, both of those guys got money coming out their wazoos. They could buy the latest Range Rovers 10 times over if they wanted. But they're both saying how they don't bother with them because they feel that this was the best model. I think it's the L322, isn't it? Both of them got the same car about a year apart. They've actually both, I think, got the 3.6, not the 4.4 V8s. And yes, Jeremy said he's had his turbos done on his. And that's what half the comments are probably full of right now before we even get started. There'll be turbo this, turbo that, turbo the other. Now, before we get into the details of how much I paid for this and what I found that's wrong with it, to introduce today's sponsor, Surfshark, because they're the kind of people that make decisions like this possible. Surfshark provides you with a virtual private network. That secure internet connection means that people can't hack in and look at your data while you're online, while you're on public Wi-Fi and so forth. And that's the system that allowed me to carry on buying cars while I'm abroad. Because with my Surfshark on my phone and on my laptop, I knew I was able to do secure transactions. But on top of protecting me online, those of you that watch regularly will know one of my favourite features of Surfshark is its ability to allow me to watch geo-locked content. And that was a big plus when I was on holiday recently. Let me explain. A lot of the streaming services you use, Netflix, this is Sky Go, they will limit the movies and series you can watch based on the country you're in. So, for example, when I was on holiday in Greece recently, sitting by the pool, I was recommended by Brooke to watch the new Dungeons and Dragons movie. But I wasn't able to because it wasn't available in Greece. I was on a Greek IP address, internet connection, and in that country that movie wasn't available. So all I did is hop onto my Surfshark. So even though I was on a Greek internet connection, I hopped onto my Surfshark and swapped it over to a UK IP address. So the system thought I was in the UK. And that allowed me to watch the Dungeons and Dragons movie in Greece, sat by the pool. Now, as always, Surfshark provided Chop's Garage viewers with a special offer. If you use the code on screen now, you'll get yourself 3 months extra free. The link through to Surfshark is in the video description down below. I want to thank Surfshark for being a continued sponsor of Chop's Garage. So having chatted about secure things, it's back to the risky Range Rover. said yes, I saw the video with Jeremy Clarkson and Harry raving about the Range Rovers, and they both, and what Jeremy Clarkson said was that people ask him what is the best car in the world, and he has to kind of say supercars a lot of the time, but in reality what he said was he thinks the best car in the world is one of these, an L322. I hope I'm saying that right, code. It is L322, isn't it? Yeah. Range Rover. He uses his for everything. He tows trailers behind it with animals on it. You'll see it all the time on the Clarkson's Farm series. He's using his constantly. And I remember watching that and noting that every time he was driving around in this old Range Rover. And a chap with his kind of cash, you'd expect him to be in something different, but he absolutely loves it. Like I said, Harry absolutely loves his too, and he's got an immense car collection. So then I hopped onto Facebook, and like I say, I've been thinking of trying one for a while because I've enjoyed the Land Rover Discovery so much before. And this popped up with a dealer. So the trade group is a trade group where dealers sell to other dealers, so they can, for cars at trade prices, so they can retail them. Or more often not the case, get rid of their toys. Now this one was actually being used as a pickup vehicle for the cars he was buying. So he was a trader, and he had a trailer on the back of this and was picking up the cars that he wanted to sell. So on top of the high mileage, sketchy history and the wrong engine, we know this thing's been towing all the time. I think before I tell you the price, we're going to go around and have a look at the car in detail. But as always with the trader, it was a super simple transaction. We worked in a deal with delivery as well, and it was as he described it. He put a brand new MOT on it on the day before he dropped it down to me. He put a new MOT in it. There were 2 advisories, if I recall correctly. Bushings in the rear axle, which Malcolm at the paint shop tells me is very common with them, and they're a pain in the arse to change. And I think some surface corrosion on the underside, which is to be expected at this age. I get that on my 2012 small cars, so we know they can rot, but I think you just got to keep on top of it, haven't you? I mean, condition wise, it's really not that bad. The tinted glass, I'm not a massive fan of. I don't know if that's factory or not, so perhaps someone can tell me. The alloys are in good condition. We've got Pirellis on there. Then the alloys are in good condition. We've got Pirellis. And the alloys aren't all curved up, which I don't suppose they would be because the tyres stick out too far. What have we got on the front? We've got a different mate. We've got a general grabber or something on the front there, like an off-road tyre. But the paintwork down this side of the car is actually quite good. There's a lot of swirls and stuff in it that would machine polish out if I decided to take the time to do that. You know, marks around where the keys go in, that could all be buffed out. The door handles, the grey on them is faded a bit, but that'd be super easy to paint those if I wanted to. So with the machine polish down the side of it and a paint of those door handles, it would actually be super clean down this side. A little bit of a scuff on the corner of the bumper, but again, really easy to do. Rear lights are nice and clear. This is a Vogue. Now I think we need Matt from High Peak Autos on now, don't we? Where does the Vogue sit in the line? I think there's 2 higher, aren't there? 2 higher than this. But I mean, spec wise, it's really good. We'll go through that in a bit. We get into our first bit of rust now, which is very common with these, which is along the edge of the tailgate here. And there's a piece of trim missing there. Easy fix for me to do, obviously. Yeah, super easy fix for me to do. I don't know if I'd possibly have to take some of the lettering off to get to some of these bits here. But I did think, to be honest, I'd just do a quick paint over with some textured finish paint along the edge there, just to tidy it up. But I don't know, a lot of the time I say that and then I get into it and end up doing a full-blown job. A bit more severe down here. We've got a bit of a crack in the paintwork down here, but again, because it's a corner, nice and easy to paint. We don't need to go any quarter panels. It's sticking out a bit here, but I think if I heated that up, pushed that in, it would tighten up in again. But again, I don't see that as a priority right now. A bit of scraping on this side, on the edge of the door here. There's a little bit of a dent. But again, because we've got this piece of trim down here and then we've got a swage line there, that wouldn't be a hard bit to paint. We've got a different tyre here. What's this? A Wrangler? Goodyear. This is a Goodyear. Loads and loads of tread on that. Again, the alloy's in good condition. Its door handles again on this side are faded. As we come along, again, there's nothing really other bodywork wise. We've got no one of those general tyres there, I think they are. Or are all 4 tyres different? What's this one? No, it's a general, so at least the front 2 match each other. But no, I mean, other than that, the front end's good. There's no real scrapes and scratches on the front end. Oh, there's a bit scraping down there again, but an easy place to paint. So all the bits that do need painting are quite easy to paint. The headlights are nice and clear. The grill's okay. So for the age of vehicle, it's actually looking pretty darn tidy. So to the interior. Now this is blooming lovely, absolutely lovely. The interior on it's in really good nick. The only real sign of the mileage is a bit of cracking on the side of the bolster here, which with some leather balm would disappear. Got a bit of cardboard down there to keep the carpets clean while I'm faffing around with it, but all the carpets are in really nice condition. Really nice condition. They valeted it before they dropped it off to me, so again, I'm appreciative of that. I don't know if this is probably plastic, isn't it, rather than wood, but it looks really nice. Got a Harman Kardon Logic 7 sound system, rear heated seats, and looks like you've got the rear blowers on there for the aircon as well. All this leather is absolutely lovely. I don't think it's really been sitting in its life, been sitting in the back there, because it doesn't look used at all. The driver's seat has an immense amount of buttons on it. We've got memory settings, the headrests electronically up and down. We've got lumbar there, 3 different directions there, and then we've got something. Oh, is that the lumbar there? There's just so many buttons. It's mental how much there is in there. If we get inside, I said all of it's nice. And the first bit that doesn't work is that doesn't want to stay shut. Automatic gearbox, of course, on a Rangy. We've got all of the settings for off-road, and I'm pleased to say, again, by now comments are probably full of comments on suspension issues. The suspension does work correctly on this. It goes up and down as it should. We've got electric boot release, parking sensors, air conditioning, heated seats. We've got a TV that actually works. I'll turn that on in a minute. We've got a TV that actually works on it. We've got a heated screen with the little wiggly lines in it for quick defrost. Yeah, I know, I'm all technical. Cruise control, heated steering wheel, stereo controls here. And like I say, everything in here, electronic glove box, everything in here is fantastic. Service history wise, next to none. Not the way to buy a Range Rover, guys. What have we got? We've got, I mean, I might be able to track down some more if I did some phoning around, I guess. We've got services in 2009, 2008, 2010, 2011, 2012, 2013, 2014, and then it goes quiet. So there we go. I don't know what happened after that. Is that not going to close now? Yes, it will. Let me get the power on, and I can tell you the exact mileage. I only got one key as well, so that's a nice bit more money to spend. But as said, it's totally as described by the dealer, and they normally are by the dealers, to be honest. He actually had a newer Range Rover, and I know that he was changing this out for a newer Range Rover, and I know that for a fact because this was brought down to me by the other Range Rover with this on a trailer behind it. 130, oh, a bit lower than I thought it was, 134,680. Let's just turn the blower off a second. If we start her up, she starts up on the button. Now, when I first got her, I thought, oh, what have I done? She really smoked at the back. But I think it had been sitting because it stopped after a little while, and I've not seen that again since. All I have got is like I've got now. I don't know if you can see that on camera, but we've got a bit of a vibration. I think we have got a bit of smoke now. Hold on a second. Oh, no, we've only got a little bit. I mean, it's a bit of a cold start up on it, but I think perhaps we've got an injector that's a bit off. It doesn't always do it. It only does it really once for the day, and then it won't do it again. So it's nothing I'm majorly worrying about, to be honest. We've got no engine warning lights on the dashboard at all. Now I've driven this probably 10-15 times. If there was a cleared code, it should have come back round again. So my suspicion is, like I said, that we've got a slightly bad fuel injector or something on there. Diesel injector on there. I don't think it'll be glow plugs, so they don't really affect it that much. I would say, if we go onto TV, I couldn't believe that the darn thing actually still works. Look at that. Got auxiliary input, CD, and we've got radio. Have we got sat nav? Yeah, we've got sat nav as well, haven't we? Yeah, sat nav. We haven't got a disc. That's the only thing. Yeah, I was missing a disc, so I'll probably need to find a disc if I want to start using the sat nav. But I absolutely love this interior. It is everything. It's basically everything the Discoveries were, but like upper level, like I thought it might be. We've got leather stitched dash, and all that's mint condition as well. All the switch gear in it is in fantastic nick. It's not worn through anywhere at all. Having known what this is being used for, I guess it's just sat in top gear on motorways all the time. We've got an electric sunroof, which does work as well. I've not found any buttons that don't work so far. I mean, we've got things like I say doesn't want to go back, but all of the electronics seem to work at the moment. Is that wood? Yeah, when I step outside now, it smells a bit fuely, like a little bit of unburnt fuel. But like I say, it doesn't do that all the time. Maybe once every couple of days, actually, I'd probably say, rather than once a day. Like I say, all lovely back in, of course. We've got the huge boot as well, haven't we? With the all-important drop-down. How do you work it, James? You push a button there. And the carpet in here is absolutely immaculate. That looks like that could be brand new. It looks like it's never had anything in it at all. Got the spare wheel in there and all the toolkit. So we'll have a look at another thing that isn't working is the rear windscreen wiper. It's packed up. It was working when it first got here, but it's packed up since. So I've done a fair few miles in this. I can't get out of the damn thing, to be honest. And you know what I'm like? Normally if there's a car with fuel in it that gets delivered, I'll use that first, but I've been actually putting fuel in this. Right, we'll have a look in the engine bay. This, of course, is your biggest risk and your biggest problem with these cars. Where's the clip? So we've got a 3.6 V8. Now this puts out let me just double check my figure, 268 brake horsepower. It's a 3.6 quad cam 32 valve V8. Its biggest thing, to be honest, is the fact it's got 640 Newton meters of torque. 640 Newton meters. So that is a little bit more than my Jaguar S. But I would say, obviously, this is quite a bit heavier than the Jaguar S. But having driven it, I'd say it's as quick as a warm hatch. On paper, I think 0 to 60 is 9 seconds and 130 mile an hour. And it feels every bit that quick. But the biggest thing for it is in gear, the acceleration when you want to nip out and overtake something. It's got so much poke. We've got lovely clear coolant, exactly the right colour at the right level. Like I said, there's no engine management lights on it at all. It seems to be fairly devoid of leaks. The fuel filter here doesn't look very old, so there's definitely work been happening since those services that we saw in the book there, but they've clearly not gone in the book. Oil, well, obviously it's diesel and they're always dirty. Difficult to tell. Let's clean it off a second. I'd say the oil's about halfway down the stick. Now, interestingly, on the dash it says that it's overdue a service, but only by I forget what the exact mileage is, but that means that at some point I think it says something like 2,000 miles or something like that. It has had a service since that, but again, we don't have any way of proving that at all. Like I say, all nice and clean and tidy and down here. I've not had any leaks on the floor in the time I've had it underneath it. Like I say, I've had no warning lights come up on the dashboard at all. But the big thing with these, and the reason that people say not to get this engine, is it's the twin turbos. And the turbos live somewhere. I'm not sure exactly where, but I'm reliably informed they live in a position at the back that requires you to lift the body off the engine or something like that to get to the turbo. So the job of replacing them is an absolute pig. So what they recommend is you buy one where you've got evidence of the turbos already having been done, which of course I haven't. I forgot to say that 640 Newton meters of torque is down at 2000 RPM. So this is an absolute torque monster. Like I say, it's not a 0 to 60 pull off the traffic lights job, but it is a mid-range beast. And if you need to nip around and overtake something, like I say, it's no problem at all. Now at this point, I fully expect we've got comments there going 20 miles to the gallon and £700 road tax and all that kind of stuff. Yes. Yep. It's probably getting about, I think, 21 miles to the gallon with the sort of type of driving I'm doing. I imagine I can get it up to 30 on a motorway or not. And yes, the road tax is astronomical. But I don't really ever get that sort of thing about road tax. It never makes any sense to me at all. You go and buy a Porsche 911 and it does 20 miles to the gallon. You don't go, oh, it's not doing 50 miles to the gallon. And the road tax is £500. Oh, the road tax is £500. It's a sports car. You bought a sports car. If you want low road tax and you want high MPG, you buy a Hyundai i10. If you want a massive luxury 4x4, fully expect to get low MPG and pay high road tax. I just don't get it. People, and the difference per month, I mean, let's say you're driving an average car at £180 a month road tax. The difference per month is about 50 quid. And people think nothing of getting a takeaway in, a Chinese in, or going to the bar and ordering a round of drinks and then peeing it down the drain 2 hours later. I honestly think in the grand scheme of things, it really doesn't make that much difference. Like I said, if you want low road tax, don't complain a Range Rover's high road tax. Go and buy a Hyundai i10. MPG, well, I got 30 MPG out of my Jaguar. This is getting 20 MPG. Again, it's going to cost me some more money per month. Might cost me another 100 quid per month in fuel. But dog howl in the background. But for me, the £100 is well spent. I'm not a big drinker. I don't spend a lot on that. Like I say, I don't do takeaways. So realistically, I really think it's worth every penny of the extra cash. Anybody who's writing about Yule Z or whatever, oh, for goodness sake, I'm in North Devon. I never go into London. I don't even go into Bristol. So it really does not matter here at all. Then the thing with Range Rovers is you get the whole thing about the comments about the type of people that drive Range Rovers. I don't know, people can have their opinions. The reason I like driving it is it's mega comfortable and it's quick at the same time. Form whatever opinions you like. I'm clearly not a show off because it's a dirt cheap one. It's not an expensive one. It's just something I actually really like driving. And to be honest, I really only think the people who can make those comments are people that haven't driven one. If you get in and drive one, you'll totally understand why you'd forego the additional costs. At this point, you're chomping in the bit to know what I paid for it, but I think what we need to do first is go for a test drive. So, out for a test drive in the Range Rover. As I said, it was smoking a bit when I had it and we first got it off the trailer. Now, obviously, it is a diesel. It's done 148,000 miles. And I don't know how long it had been sitting before I got my hands on it. So I've put a bottle of the diesel cleaner in the tank. It's showing quarter of a tank. So I've bunged a bottle of diesel cleaner. So it's got a nice strong mixture. Although quarter of a tank on this could be a crap load of fuel, couldn't it? Now it is super comfy. Obviously that's the obvious thing about it. Feels like being in the armchair at home. There's no warning lights at all on the dashboard. I've given it a few prods of the old turbos. We'll do it again now. I can't see any smoke out the back as I'm doing that. I'd really need someone following me to be 100% sure. But it picks up and goes. To be fair, it goes like my 3 litre Jaguar X. What have I got? Yeah, it feels, to be fair, as pokey as my 3 litre V6 XF. Obviously, it's heavier, so it's not going to be as quick on paper, but it certainly just goes up the hills. Ride is nice. Steering doesn't feel like 143,000 miles. Still feels nice and tight. All the switches and buttons I've hit so far work. I was getting a little whiff of diesely smell, smoky smell when I stopped at junctions when I first got it and drove it around a bit. But I don't seem to be picking up on that anymore. I say, just it accelerates like you would not expect something this big to accelerate. Like I say, it's been a long while me wanted to try one of these out. Obviously the automatic gearbox is lovely and smooth. You don't really tell that the changes are happening at all, apart from every now and then on maybe some of the down changes. All the switch gear feels good. None of it's rattly, and there's no rattles inside the car at all. You can probably hear from me talking to you on camera now. I'm not hearing any rattles of the trim. A little bit of a creak of leather now and then, but that's it. Now, one of the things that's really surprised me is that I've driven it back through the back lanes to come to work, because I wanted to get a feel for how it felt in those back lanes, as to whether it was just too cumbersome. But it actually felt easier to drive through the back lanes than the Transit van I was driving the other day. I had to bung it in reverse a couple of times for people. Didn't really have a problem reversing it. I guess I've got better vision than I have in a van, so that's one of the things that probably made it easier. One thing that's worrying me slightly is the fuel gauge doesn't seem to have moved much, if at all. Actually, it's moved a tiny bit from my trip so far. Now, I guess a quarter of a tank on one of these is probably quite a lot of fuel, so perhaps I won't see it move much at all. But yeah, I've done everything to sort of aggravate a code coming up by giving it full boost on the old turbos, letting it sit in idle for a long while. Temperature is staying bang on half, always has done, never given any indicator of being a problem. I say changes down there lovely and smooth, you can't really tell it's done it at all. And yeah, just I've got a sense of nervousness in my voice because I know at this price point for a Range Rover, at this age, this mileage, this engine, there is a world of hurt that could be happening any time. And I don't think someone's going to have gifted away a Range Rover that's perfect either. That new MOT gave me some confidence that the emissions are okay. So if the turbos were really bad and belching out smoke, I mean, I guess they wouldn't be engaged in an MOT test, but you'd expect it to have some issues. The only thing I've picked up a little bit on is braking into the corners here. Is a little bit of a noise on the brakes, but you know, that sounds like it could just be low pads, to be honest. Through the corners, we know we like to do the corners on Old Chop's garage. It feels really composed for something this tall. It really does. I mean, that is really quite impressive. Obviously you feel the body rolling slightly, but the chassis, it's staying where it is. There's no hint of understeer. You can really carry some speed through these corners. You wouldn't expect something this big to be able to do it. Yeah, I'm impressed. I think the thing with this, at the price point I bought it at, is not, you know, what's the point in trying to buy a cheap one and make it perfect? I may as well have bought a better one in the first place. So I'm going to leave some of its imperfections. I'm going to leave, you know, as long as the mechanical issues, because there's going to be some, I just haven't worked out what they are yet. As long as the mechanical issues don't stop it from running and driving as it should, you know, if there is a little bit of smoke at cold startup, that kind of thing, a little bit of smoke under hard acceleration, I'm not going to chase it down and find out what it is. Not at this price point, not 149,000 miles. It's like I say, time and time again, don't buy a cheap car and try and make it perfect. You'll spend more money than if you went and found a good one in the first place. The key to Bangonomics is to find one like this one's got, with a decent MOT on it. This one's got obviously got the brand new one on it, that runs and drives nicely, and then do as little as you can. Don't plough money into it. So there we have it, guys. My Range Rover is pretty darn tidy, drives really nicely, and it was dirt cheap. This is probably retail worth, I'd say, looking around, about £6 which is still stupidly cheap for this car. But I actually paid, I'm going to use a bit of man math now here, and I'm going to say I paid £3 for this, because I had it delivered from way up country. And any of you again that follow the channel regularly know I pay about 200 quid just to get a car from Bristol, but I got it from way up country, and I got it delivered all in for 3,500. So I'm using a bit of man math there, but I know it would have cost me 500 quid to get it picked up and delivered anyway. So I can be, you can justify it to however you want. Obviously, I'd still have to cover that cost if I sold it on. But yeah, I mean, I think for the money, it's an absolute bargain. I think it was probably, like I say, probably worth about £3 is the kind of trade price I should have been paying for it. But like I say, everything I get in costs me a fortune to get transported because I'm in the middle of nowhere. Fully ready to spend another £3 or more keeping this on the road. That's no problem with me at all. I still think I'll be into a cheap car. In terms of retailing it, I'd have to be so selective as to who I sold this to. And this is the problem. This is the really dangerous cars when it comes to retail, because there'll be a number of people watching this video thinking, I could afford that. But then when it does need those turbos in, I don't know, it could need them next month, it could need them in 10 months time, drop in another, I mean, God knows how much it'd be. I mean, I imagine it'd be 10 hours or more to get the engine out, and then you've got a couple of turbos. You know, you're running into thousands and thousands of pounds. Then they start looking for the person to blame. They don't look at the car and go, yeah, I bought a mega old car with high mileage. They start to look for the person to blame. The dealer, by the time you've done everything, you know, I'd have to sort out whatever that sort of injectory thing is going on. By the time it was all said and done and I'd sold this, even if I sold it for the sort of retail value of about £6,000, I'll probably only end up making £1,000 out of it. Is it worth making £1,000 for the risk of what this car could need to be fixed? No. So how do you sell it? Well, the only way you can really sell it is on like a spares and repair or maybe a 30-day warranty side of things, and then hope that you get a sensible buyer who realizes that they've bought something seriously old that's going to throw cash at. Matt at High Peak, I messaged him once and said, Matt, what's your recommendation if I was, because I was thinking of getting a nicer one, if I was to spend say 15 grand on a Range Rover, which one should I buy? And he said, you should spend 10 and keep 5 in the bank, James. So, you know, and that guy flips a lot of Range Rovers. Hey, I'm going to hop in this and drive home now. Follow along for the journey. Let's see how painful it is having one of these. I will obviously have it up for sale on my site as I drive it around, but we're going to find out exactly how painful it is owning a Range Rover this age. But there is one big problem that comes along with having this Range, and it's more than those turbos and everything else that could go wrong with it. That problem is I can't justify running around in that and still keeping that. And this is a really, really tough one because I absolutely love the XF-S. Now, if you remember, I got this cheap, and this has even more miles on it. It's 150 odd thousand miles on it. And this had an engine problem at the time when I got it. It had an engine management light on it. We changed the plastic inlet manifold and we changed an EGR valve on it. I would say over the course of owning that, I've dropped probably another £2,000 into it in various bits and bobs. I mean, some of those are serviceable, discs and pads, that kind of thing. But we bought it cheap. I think I got that for around about £1,500, something like that. But yeah, by the time I'd paid for various bits and bobs, it probably owes me more like nearly probably £4,000, I would say. Let's estimate near enough £4,000, which is still cheap for what it is. I mean, this thing, again, 600 newton meters of torque at 1500 RPM. I've never driven anything that overtakes as quicker as that. You've seen me drive this all over. I've driven miles in it. I absolutely love it. Again, this one has issues. You know, parking sensors don't work on it. Actually, I've narrowed a lot of them down now. Parking sensors don't work, and one of the vents still doesn't turn when you turn it on. It's got various scrapes and bits on the bodywork that we didn't finish off, but in terms of driving it, I absolutely love it, and I still think it's a really quite cool looking car as well, all murdered out like that. But I really can't justify that. Obviously, I've got a Suzuki Swift as well and a raft of MGBs. So it's upsetting me to say it, but I'm going to have to put this up for sale. The Jaguar is going to have to go. But again, that opens up a whole can of worms, because that is a car that, again, what dealer can be expected to stand by a car with 150 odd thousand miles on it that is now, you know, 13 years old? I know you'd all love us to, but we can't. We can't, not on a margin of a few £100s off of a car like that. So we'll put it on the site. We'll have to be very careful about who we sell it to. I've got to get it down and get a new MOT on it. I think with a fresh MOT on it, probably about £3,500. So I'm actually going to lose money on it, but I don't mind, because I've enjoyed driving it so much. It's such a fantastic car. And yeah, I think I'm going to just put tyres on it as well. I'm probably going to regret it, but I don't think it'll be a hard car to get again, to be honest. I imagine there's a few about. So that is how good the Range Rover is, that it is actually making me part with a car I love that much. And as I said, follow along and let's find out what heartbreak the Range Rover brings to me. As always, massive thanks for watching, and we'll catch you again on the next one.